Yeah, well, no, well, I was all over the place, when I was younger. I was, you know, we were in Prince Albert for 4 years and Glassland, a little town, Glassland, North
Oh yeah,
Battleford, and but I was in the res there for half of my, upbringing there, right? So I was in my mom's res, Soto, and then my dad's res, Red Pheasant.
right.
So I got a little bit of, like, the town life and the res life growing up, and I seen a little bit of both there. I just knew well, the big reason why I left the res, no jobs, eh?
Yeah, just opportunity
There's
is
no
small.
opportunities. It's hard to get anything done, and I'm not one of those people where, I wanna expect handouts,
Right.
you know what I mean? What do you do?
Yeah.
You have to leave as much as you don't wanna leave your community, right? So, yeah. Are we live?
We're just we can start whenever you're ready.
Well, whenever you're ready, my guy.
I'm always ready.
You're always ready?
I guess before we get going officially,
Yeah,
if you want to just introduce yourself, and then kind of what you're all about,
yeah,
and then we'll just go into it.
sure. Yeah, I'm, Richard Wuttunee. I come from Soto and, Red Pheasant First Nations, from Treaty 6. Um, yeah, I guess, long story short, I grew up in basically a poor situation, and, a lot of drugs, alcohol, and then the res life, and, there wasn't much opportunities, I guess, in that kind of, atmosphere. So, basically had to leave the reserve in order to, create any kind of opportunities for oneself. So, yeah, fast forward to today, I'm, running a plumbing and heating and HVAC business, and, currently a five-star rated, company, and hoping to stay that way.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
know that's hard to do, but that's one of our goals.
How many
And
employees?
three, so
Okay.
it's small. I'd like to keep it small. I got a mentor actually in Calgary. Um, he's been doing plumbing and heating and HVAC for like 40 years now.
Okay.
And
That's
so I got a really good guy there and I think I think in business, yeah, that's a smart move. I think you need that.
yeah.
As much as we're all super proud of ourselves of figuring things out all the time, I think it's still good to lean on a mentor like that. So well, at least on the business side of things, I'm pretty big on having an experienced mentor.
Right.
Um, so he taught me, his game plan was he had 12 vans at one point within his business, but he scaled back his plan. Now he runs 3 vans, but he picked his three biggest technicians, not biggest, but most
Experience.
performing, I guess, right? Technicians. And so now he basically has the same money he's bringing in from his 12 vans to 3 vans, but he's got, the best techs there. So he
Mhm.
pays them more money, and then, you know, gives them a commission on more sales that they bring in, and more maintenance plans and all that kind of stuff that they bring in.
Right.
Um,
And then he's just not stretched as thin.
he's not stretched as thin. He knows he can. And the other thing about it too, was the quality side. When you have too many vans,
Mhm.
because a lot of people think, in business, well, the business has to be big. At the beginning, or someone who hasn't been in business for a while, or someone who hasn't been in business, they dream of this big, massive business. And I think you at some point you realize that, we still gotta serve the community, and having a big business is good in creating jobs, but also you gotta keep in mind, at least in our line of work, the quality of work still has to be there.
Right.
And if we don't have the quality of work, then in my opinion, I believe we're failing the community because they're paying you a good dollar to come in and perform these plumbing and HVAC services. But if you're having, to go back 2 or 3 times to fix stuff, and you're taking time out of their day,
Mm.
our day, the bottom dollar goes down, your reputation as a five-star company goes down. So it's just, it's not good for everybody. I'm a person of, we don't want to sit there and be wasting everybody's time.
Right.
And that's one of it, like having a proper quality control program and policies in place where, one, yeah, we're doing the job, but two, equally as important, that we're finishing the job and we're checking over our checklist that everything is done good. We're checking over our water lines, that once we do a repair, we check the repair, we run the water, do an in-service test, but then we also make them do another 15-minute wait and
Mhm.
then check the same joints again because there could be a little bit of a slow leak, and you still don't want to. Those things can creep up on you really quick. The guy looks at a piece of pipe and, yeah, it's good.
Right.
He takes off. He wants to go have a smoke. He wants to go down the block, and then you're getting a call back from the customer. Hey, actually, there's a couple drops coming on into the bucket here. What happened here? So then you're playing, you know, um, a little bit of damage control now at that point.
Right, right, right.
So it's a spiral of events. I think, for me at the beginning, that wasn't front and center of what I wanted to do. But then over time, talking with my mentor, we uh, we realized that that is has to be front and center what we're doing.
So how do you pass that mindset on to the people who are working for your company?
Yeah, so the crew hands, we always make sure we're always checking in on what they're doing, and then sending lots of photos if we're
Mm.
not on site. Sending a lot of photos to make sure they're accountable. I think is a big one because if you're not, you know, I don't want to see, accuse somebody of lying,
Right, right, right.
right? But at the same time, it's like, well, show us the work.
Yeah.
Show us what you're doing. Show
But
us
at the
the
same
photo.
time, you're lying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, why are you lying to me, man? Like, yeah, yeah. But trying to, you're playing that balancing act too of where you don't want to be like finger wagging at your
Right.
crew hands, right? It's just trying to say that, look, we're all in this together. Whether or not you're working for us or you're working for the next guy, you should honestly be looking after your own reputation as well,
Mm.
because your own reputation goes a long ways too, right? So
Definitely.
it's not just, yeah, it might be, preaching that and saying it's policy, but it's really a lot more than that. If you break it down even further, it's like your own reputation.
Mm.
And then you go into someone's house, and then let's say, Bob goes into someone's house, and then, goes into Lisa's house, and then he does a good job, and Lisa calls again 1 year later and says, "Look, we have another call, um, another leak going on or something happened in the furnace." but we don't want anybody just coming. We want Bob to come back because Bob, we watched him. He actually took care of what he was doing. He laid out a plan how he was gonna make the repair. He said how long he was gonna take, and
Mhm.
all of that mattered, and then at the end of it, we enjoyed the professionalism that he gave to us and our family, right? So then we'll
Right.
just specifically send Bob back to go and help out with that
Mhm.
repair again for Lisa.
Right.
I'm just using names. Sorry, man, I'm not,
Not you, Lisa.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not talking about you, Lisa Wuttunee, and I'm sorry, it's not, I'm not trying to get on you today, but
It's actually like a good like it's like a good leadership tactic because honestly you have this system in place as a company,
yeah,
but then this system, for one, it protects you
yeah,
as a company. For two, it also builds discipline in your employees,
yeah,
at the same
yeah,
time. And then it's like you can also kind of third party it and be like, no, that's just our policy.
yeah,
But really it's building them and it's protecting your company
yeah,
and it's like kind of working hand in hand, which is
yeah.
that's nice, man.
Those are things, it's one thing, like, just to make policies, but I believe it's another thing to make policies, but also to empower your people
Right.
around these policies as to why are we making these policies and why are we doing these things? Well, let's talk about the why. Let's talk about it because that matters to me
Mm.
just as much as anybody else, right? Let's sit down and let's talk about this because the quality control side of things and and the whole experience. I'll get into service too, right? Even the service part of it and meaning how you speak with people and like the professional part. That all matters too, right? I mean, it's like I always tell guys too, and at the end of the day, we have to present ourselves always in a good way, in a positive way, and a lot of people that are, they'll resonate with that. And we're there. I don't try to say, we're the. Sometimes I do say that we are the Dr. Phil crew. Sometimes because it's like we go in and we're feeling people's feelings and they're getting into a big repair and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I'll have enough money for this." And it's just emotion it gets emotional
Right.
where and it's like, "Look, everything's gonna be okay, Lisa."
Well, we might have to have Lisa on the podcast next.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sorry about that, Lisa. And then, it's like, and it's just trying to like settle them down, calm them down. So I always tell my crew hands like just talk in nice, respectful, calm ways, and people will settle down. Just say, look, we're here, we're gonna fix the problem, and everything at the end of the day, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay, right? So I think that part of it too really resonates with people. So then we tell our crew hands again, that goes back to you and how you're conducting your business on behalf of the company, but also how you conduct yourself, right?
Mm.
I think that's even bigger than anything. It's your again, it goes back to your reputation again because your reputation doesn't just all of a sudden go away when you're working on the clock. You know what I mean? It's still there. So you got to keep that in check too. That's how I bring it across my crew hands that your reputation's always going to be there. Yeah, sure, you're not going to like everything that's maybe coming down the pipeline. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Um, I didn't like everything that came down the pipeline, but at the end of the day, when I was working hard to get all my trade certificates, qualifications, I knew it was part of the grind. It was part of, what you had to do in order to, hit those goalposts that you set for yourself, those short and long-term goals. So, you know, and that's the difference between, being a dreamer and then being
Mm,
someone who's out there trying, okay, these are goals to me. I'm going to hit these goals and we're going to make some more goals. And that's just how we go. That's a dreamer and a go-getter.
right.
So there's a difference there. You know what I mean?
I do.
And so trying to say that again to the crew hands that, this is a lot bigger than business. This is a lot bigger than you even. This is how we should be treating everyone on an everyday basis and unifying each other in a weird kind of a way, right?
Mm.
Um, some resonate with it, some don't, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
and so you're still quite hands-on?
yeah. Yeah. I like yeah, I think I'm always gonna be like that, hands on. I don't like sending people at the lines of fire and
Right.
expect people to fight fights for me that I should be right in the fire with them,
Yeah, you seem to me
you
like
know?
somebody who, like, leading by example is important to you.
Yeah, like it yeah, I think and I think you get a lot more respect, with your crew hands. I think with anyone in general, I think if you're right there, like even if let's say you're at an event and you're at a feast, let's say you go to a feast in a community and you actually stay back to help clean up and rack up the chairs and put the tables away and that kind of stuff. Like you're not above the janitor even. Like you're
Mhm.
there, everybody's equal. So yeah, I believe you should be fighting in the fire with your crew hands as much as possible, right? Um, you show up to a site, "Okay, what do you need done? Let's hang this piece of pipe. Okay, I'll go get you some rigging and some rope and you get your supports ready and we'll start getting this pipe in the air."
Right.
Stuff like that. Like it's just, at the end of the day, I mean, you start as a crew, you end as a crew, but you don't want to be, you're still gonna if you're not helping the problem, right? Well, then you're part of the problem.
Mm.
And I think that's another, big thing in business. I mean, and then whether that means being hands on and getting things done and going through emergency calls. That's what it means. That's just what it takes, right?
Right.
It's all part of that hard work that you got to put in. And you know, some people say, "Well, do you get tired?" And I'm like, if it comes down to me being overtired or twiddling my thumbs at home, all day I'm gonna be picking being overtired.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
That's just how this life is, and it's good that we have that life here in Canada.
Definitely.
You know, um,
I think that, like, what you just said right there is the difference between being a leader or not. Because not everybody is designed to be a leader,
yeah,
you know? But just what you said there, when you become a leader and the bigger leader you become, the less rights you get and the more responsibility you have, right? And one of those responsibilities might be being tired sometimes, you know? And you get less rights. You don't
yeah,
get to sleep in. You don't get to pick and choose what you get to do, right? But you don't have to be a leader.
yeah,
So you can have all the rights you want, but if you want to step into a leadership position of any kind, right? Being a father, being a business owner, being a whatever that looks like,
yeah.
um, there's some sacrifices you got to make.
Yeah. Yeah, the leaders leaders, you know, that those positions, they get skewed. A lot of people don't really know what that means, and I think, leading by example is one good way of leading, right?
The best way.
And then also saying, look, this is a choice. Everybody has a choice, and that's how
Mm,
I am, right? You have a choice. No one's gonna hold a gun to your head to come and make this choice. You have a choice. Here are the choices laid out. You gotta make this happen. So again, I think laying that out, pushing yourself, pushing others, these are all good things that our people need this.
mm,
Some of our nations out there are struggling.
right.
They're struggling. We have a lot of mental health issues, right? And there's one thing. There's one thing. As arrogant as it sounds, you really, at the end of the day, you have to be your own biggest warrior, right? You know, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to have that belief in yourself to do anything. I think in life, it just that's a good trait to have because I think you can break down a lot of barriers and doubts that you have in your head of a lot of people. They put these doubts in their head and they just, I don't want to make it sound like a Dr. Phil session or anything, right? By any means, right?
No, this is good though. This
But
like,
it's like I see that with my community too. Um, people ask those questions like how do you get to these things? How did you get your education? How did you do your education without getting funding, from the bank? Because I never did get funding, right?
mm,
But it's like, what? It's because I had belief in myself. It,
right.
it comes down to just, I didn't need chief or council to believe in me. I didn't need any of the managers at the band office to believe in me. I needed me to believe in me. And then once you start opening up that value in yourself, right? I think it leads you in a positive outlook in any path that you go down.
Mm.
And it's, for me, it's helped me like exponentially, even in business. It's helped me with my character of who I am. It's,
Was it always there? Or
it,
did
wa-
it?
it wasn't there when I was young.
Mm.
I bring that up because, I had those doubts when I was young. Um, yeah, and it wasn't until, getting into high school, started to, come out of those doubts a little bit more. And then I wanna say, started to come more out of them in my late teens late teens. But the one thing that kind of always stuck with me was when I was about 13 years old. Um,
It's all good.
the wife.
It's not live, so you can answer it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, yeah. Alright.
Oh
Oh,
shit.
shit. I didn't tell her because I was saying she's at frickin' soccer,
Yeah, yeah.
but,
She said you ruined the whole podcast.
yeah, yeah, she's like, "Oh, shit, yeah, yeah."
So you should say we're on CTV right now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. CTV. Um, yeah, that's pretty no, I just I like your stuff. What ended up bringing you, to making a podcast anyways? You just one day wanted to do that, or
Man, like
I wanted to ask you that.
I have so many good conversations with so many people, and like I'm like grateful because all of these opportunities I've had come my way. I've been able to meet so many people, so many cool people, interesting people, powerful people,
Yeah.
and some of them nobody knows,
Yeah.
you know. And I always thought, like, why am I the only person who knows you,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, or like why
Yeah.
does just like this group of people know? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have such a powerful story. And then, like, I just kept having these and then, like, man, this has been years in the making. I'm like, I'm gonna do a podcast one day
Yeah.
because I have such great conversations with so many people.
Yeah.
And then one day I'm just like, whatever, I don't know how to do it, but I just bought mics, bought a soundboard,
Yeah.
asked another friend of mine who has a podcast what program they use, and
Yeah.
I just started doing it. And then as I went, I started like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know how the equipment worked. I was asking ChatGPT
Yeah.
how to set this up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The mics I first had sucked.
Yeah.
Like my first 15 episodes don't sound that great.
Yeah.
And then I got a buddy of mine who's a producer to come, and he recommended these mics, this soundboard, uh, and just like slowly got better. I just use my phone to record the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing like professional, just everything's simple,
Yeah. Yeah.
just like me.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, that's
and
yeah. I
and
like
now
it.
I get to invite, and I like that it's
Yeah.
not over Zoom,
Yeah.
that they're here
Yeah.
and we can actually like have a conversation, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see and feel their energy,
Yeah.
and it's not like a second delay over the internet. It's just like, and I
Yeah.
just wing everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people come and it's my first time meeting them,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I just get to know them right on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other people like us, we've known each other for
Yeah.
3 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like it's not like
Yeah.
we've ever sat down and had an
Yeah.
hour long conversation before.
Yeah.
It's always in passing, or
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Or coming through the store or something,
right?
or yeah. No, it's yeah. No, it's interesting. Just well, there is a lot of strong stories out there,
Hmm.
and yeah, and like you said, that none of these guys are, you know, nobody it doesn't seem like nobody hears them, right?
Yeah. Even some people have asked, are scared to come on.
They're scared, eh?
Yeah, and I just
Yeah.
tell them it's not live, so
Yeah.
we could do it. You could listen to it, and if you don't like it,
Yeah.
we can delete it. We don't ever have to post it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And still, some people will not.
They don't want to do it. Yeah.
They don't want to,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
For me, it was I was always a shy guy too, an introvert, eh? And then I think just over time, getting in the trades, and then you do service calls and you're talking with people
hmm,
more. You get into business and then you got to talk with people more. It just starts becoming second nature, right?
right,
And you have to do that, right? It's not that I want to do it,
right,
right? But I may as well do it. So if I am gonna do it, I may as well enjoy it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just get to the point where it's comfortable.
Yeah, like just get into it, talk about it, and then at some point you feel like at least you're getting good at it, right?
Hmm.
Like I was never, even in business, I was never. I don't ever want to be a big pushy salesman. I think that's not the way to do it. I try to come at things at a technicality standpoint.
Right.
Where it's like, hey, these are things that are gonna break down on you pretty soon. Should probably jump this up the priority list, right? And I think that in itself, I think resonates with people because it's like, hey, we gotta do something about this,
Yeah.
as opposed to, okay, you need a whole new rooftop system. You need, all your ductwork changed out. Oh, and I think all the insulating of all the ductwork too needs to be swapped out.
And then just hope they pick something
Yeah,
that you.
and
That's how
then
I feel like when I take my car in
yeah,
and they give me a list. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't even know what of these is
yeah,
actually.
needed.
Right.
Yeah. And then so I like that's what I try to tell people. Like this is what's needed. This is what you should be looking at. Here's if you want to get into a preventative maintenance plan,
Right.
to help you be more proactive about it, and then yeah, sign up for one or whatever, right? I mean, I think all of those things, if you break them down a little bit better for people, they're gonna be more in tune with, trying to use your services, right?
Mm.
At least that's what I've been seeing, right?
S-
Um,
So what made you, instead of just working for somebody else, decide to, I need to start my own company?
this was a long time ago too, when I was 19, starting to get in the trade at that point. And I knew early on, I was like, hey, I wanted my steam fitter, pipe fitter ticket. I was doing a lot of industrial work at the time. And then after that, I got into plumbing and gas because I wanted those tickets too. I wanted to do residential and commercial, not just industrial. So I ended up getting the three tickets. Um, so I knew early on that I wanted to get into business. So I was already buying tools from secondhand stores when I was younger and loading up on tools. So my checks, I'd be like, every couple months I'd go grab a pipe wrench here or a crescent wrench here or, just any kind of tools because plumbing and heating, there's quite a bit of tools you need.
Mm.
So then, yeah, so after that, it was early on. Yeah, I wanted to go into business and, but I for sure need to get my trade schooling done. So I ended up getting all the trade schooling done. I had all three of them wrapped up before I hit 30. And then that's when I started to slowly get into business after that. So then, but yeah, long story short, it was when I was younger.
She already had
I
the
had,
intention.
I wanted the intention. I didn't want to work for somebody, but what I knew was, um, I wanted to work for myself but I still had respect for the companies and the journeymen that taught me along the way because I knew I needed that along the way.
Right.
So I still respect those guys that gave me that training along the way and believed in me much
Mm.
as I believed in myself to push yourself, to the next level all the time.
Yeah.
So I still have again a lot of respect for old companies I worked for and a lot of the old journeymen that taught me when I was a young apprentice. And a couple of guys were actually old business owners, so I used to pick their brain a little bit too on breaks when we were sitting down having coffee. Like, what do you think about this,
Mm.
or how would you run your business like this, or how was your HR when you had a rogue employee doing some of these kind of things? Like, I was already
Yeah.
asking some of these questions when I was like, 19, 20, 21. I was asking some of my journeymen these questions, and they're like, man, you know, you're asking me some good questions here. That's some good stuff you're asking me. So then, but I didn't like, it's not like I was hounding them all the time for information, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just the odd question that I had, and then I put it in I always had a notepad, so I'd write in my notepad, and then I think about my next 2 or 3 questions to ask, and then I'd find my time,
Mm.
the opportunity I had with, some of my senior journeymen there to ask them, "Okay, what do you think about this or this?" Right? Like, "Hey, that's a pretty solid question again," right? They'd come at me with them like I'm like, "Ah, I'm interested, right? Like, I'm not this isn't something, I'm just trying to do as a hobby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This isn't a hobby to me. This is what I wanna do, right? And, not that I'm trying to be like,
Yeah, yeah,
come at you and be
yeah.
really overzealous, and I want all your information about
Yeah.
you, you know what I mean? I didn't wanna come off that way on some of my, senior journeymen. And I just tried to come off again genuine about it. "Hey, what do you think of this and this and this," right? But that helped me because I go back to my notepad
Just always have it there.
and I'd be like, "Hey, man, I asked, like, 200 questions over my apprenticeship that were gearing towards business that I was already kinda thinking about when I was that age." I mean, I didn't have, obviously, everything figured out, but I think, planning and prepping is a good trait too, eh?
Mhm.
If the better you can the way I see it nowadays, if you can have a good plan, when I go estimate jobs, I plan on, like, seeing the job at, like, 60, 70%. I don't try to overthink and wanna see the whole job, but as long as I can get a good grasp on it, 60, 70% is, like, the percentage line I put on it, and then the other 30 to 40% we can figure out on the fly, 'cause you don't wanna overthink things too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you overthink things, that's taken away from, productivity.
Yeah.
And productivity is money,
Mhm.
and money is what drives the business. So you always need that. So for me, that's how I, supervise jobs. That's how I estimate jobs. I have that 60 to 70% goal marker of when I go look at jobs to figure them out. And that was one of my questions when I was younger, you know, um, how much overthinking is too much overthinking. And yeah, I had a couple of senior journeymen tell me that had businesses, um, that is a problem, overthinking, because, you're always, like, thinking about the, bottom dollar and the next day, the next week, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying you still gotta do that thinking and you still gotta plan,
Yeah.
but it's
I
like
think but I think
there's a route there, right?
yeah.
And that for me anyways, and just going off my own personal opinions and some of the guidance that I got over the years, right? Is that's how I broke it down. It was that 60 to 70% figure when I go look at a job.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think the ability to simplify
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
is a very rare skill, and I think a lot of great leaders and great business owners have that ability to just like not overcomplicate everything.
Yeah.
And then it comes with confidence too. Because I think overthinking comes with not having confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
So you're trying to fix every problem beforehand,
Yeah.
just in case it comes up, instead of being like, I'm a competent human being.
Yeah.
And if this comes up, I'll figure it out. I'll deal with it,
Yeah.
you know? And just having the confidence that, if something's off a little bit, you're not going to be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
you can just work on the fly as well,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that that simplifying things is just not everyone has that
Yeah.
trait.
Yeah. When you can look at something, like, and that's obviously, I'm not gonna say that something, it happened overnight with me, right? It's something I knew early on was a thing, um, with some of the questions I was asking when I was younger, and then I just honed that in over time,
Mm,
and then when I started to get into business, I felt like it was, and then you're honing it in more, but I felt like I was ahead
right.
in that aspect because it's like, I know this is a problem, these big complex issues, but how can we simplify it and just get it down to a point to where, okay, this is what needs to be done, and we can fill in some of these blanks later
Right.
if we have to, if we even get the job, right?
Yeah.
That's just one of those things. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these little things, I mean, it's all helpful, and even in just in general life, I felt even in life when you can break down life's experiences as you're going and like, wait a second here, why
Mm-hmm.
are we what are we doing here? Why?
It's interesting how those skills translate
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, and then you're like, even if you're just walking down, like, even the mall, right? And then, like, I'm with my wife, and they're like, "Where are we at?" I'm like, "Oh, we're at the hairstylist." She's looking at me, right? And she's like, "Why? What's up?" I'm like, "No, just trying to figure out what we were doing." Like, how you just like
Funny. I blacked out.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're like, and you're thinking, you're like, "Man, you know what? I'm overthinking this right now. Are we trying to get her hair done?" Like, and then
That's funny.
and then she's like, "Yeah, bro." I'm like, "Yeah, we are trying to get her hair done."
Yeah. Just gears grinding,
Yeah, you're like
there's steam coming out.
yeah, yeah, you're like, "Man, yeah, sorry about that, hon. I was thinking about this one job there we were doing last week. It's gonna haunt me, right?"
Are you left-handed?
Me? No, no,
Oh, really?
no.
I was thinking because when you were talking about writing on a notepad,
Yeah, yeah,
you like wrote with your left,
yeah,
and I was thinking I can't even pretend to write with my left. That's
yeah,
how uncomfortable that would be.
yeah.
And you just started writing with your left. I was like, I wonder if this guy's left-handed.
I actually, in the trades, uh I go back and forth with I'm right-handed, but I go back and forth when I'm using pipe wrenches.
Oh yeah,
And so even if
ambidextrous now.
you get stuck on, let's say, on top of a duct somewhere, and you can get your right hand in there
Oh
because of
yeah,
how it's situational awareness of the job. Like, I gotta use my left,
right, right, right.
right? So then just over the years, I've just gotten used to using both arms,
Mm,
pulling wrenches and drill. Sometimes I'm drilling in screws with my left, and I'll use my right
okay.
today.
Well, that explains everything.
And it'd be like my right's yeah, even curling, like I'd be curling and I know my right's stronger, so I'll be curling the same weight, but then my left, I know it's a little weaker. I'll always go 2 reps more
Mm,
with my
balance it
left.
out.
Yeah, like I'm trying to always balance out my left to my right. Because well, you would know about this because you're a boxer, right? Fighting both ways.
Yeah.
I know for sure you practice it,
Yeah, I've actually
right?
started fighting both ways
Yeah,
because I had a surgery,
yeah, yeah.
because I tore my right rotator cuff in one of my fights.
Ooh.
So then I just went while my shoulder was hurt,
Yeah,
I just started practicing southpaw,
yeah, yeah,
and then when my shoulder healed, now I'm pretty comfortable
yeah,
fighting either way.
yeah, yeah. Even that, when I used to spar too a little bit back in the day in high school. We were sparring southpaw, and my one cousin actually did quite a bit of taekwondo, and we used to spar with him like on the res. Yeah,
Mm,
they actually had. him and his brother had a lot of formal training, and then he'd come back to the res, and then we used to duke it out with each other, which was pretty funny, right?
Yeah.
But
I think
you get
the
some
high
boxing
school.
gloves on, and then we just go duke it out outside in the front yard
Yeah.
and on
Bro
the
scraps.
on the lawn. You know how it starts out, right? And then, I remember him telling me, I watched him. He started practicing southpaw. He was also right-handed, so then he was practicing southpaw. So then his thing his right is faster and stronger. So then he wants to in with that jab
Yeah.
all the time. He wants to have that nice, strong, accurate hand leading.
Super
And
fast.
then his left is weaker, and he figured he can just come
Wind
over
up
the
with
top,
it.
and then
Yeah.
I can just come in with this big haymaker windmill from over the top, like a Chuck Liddell.
Yeah.
Chuck comes in with this
Yeah.
big frickin', and he practices that all the time. I've seen him practice. He's telling guys I've watched some of his Ultimate Fighter coaching.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I just come over the top and I just wing it in, and I loop it. I loop it right in there. And if that thing connects, man, this guy's going to bed, right? And I remember my cousin actually saying that to me when we were younger, and that made sense to me, right?
Yeah.
And so I started going southpaw and then just winging my left, like just Hail Mary lefts,
That's good,
It
man.
was pretty funny, and we were talking about that because then later on in life we seen Chuck Liddell talking about that,
Mm.
like in how some of his training is. And yeah, I like that big looping overhand right.
The Iceman.
Yeah.
Last year I had a guy fight in the States, and then I went to the after party. I went to this after party after, and I went into
Was that in
the
Colorado?
no,
That's
that
not right.
was where was I? Ma- Hmm. I can't remember where I was. Might have been Denver, might have been, but it was for bare knuckle, anyways.
Yeah, yeah,
BKFC. Um, and then so we were in the VIP, and Chocolate Hell was there, and we got to hang out with him and talk to him and listen to him tell some stories.
yeah, yeah.
It's cool, man. Chuck
Yes.
Liddell.
He's I seen he was on a podcast too. I watched some of Rampage's podcasts
Mm, yeah,
on Jackson.
Jackson. That's a good one.
That's a good one, yeah. And then so he was on there, and no, it was just funny just because he was on there, and you know they brought up Tito
Mm.
or whatever, and then how they don't get along. It's like, yeah, Tito is basically insinuating there like he's a very very stupid guy, right? Like, it's just mad.
You always see the clips of Tito online of all the
Yeah,
stupid comments he makes
yeah,
and
yeah,
messes up his sentences and
yeah. And I'm just like, man, and then like, cause Chuck's like he just seems so genuine and down to earth,
yeah.
He just like calls a spade. And he's like, yeah, yeah, I know, don't like that guy. Like it's just.
Yeah.
But that last fight there, we know that him and Tito 3,
Yeah.
oh man,
I was I don't even think
Chuck
any
was way out of his
yeah.
prime. It's like, why would you? I don't know if he actually like took that fight on his own. Like I'm assuming he did,
Yeah.
but like, and then none of his close friends like tried to talk him out of it. You know what I mean?
Doesn't his family love him?
I'm like,
I think like Tito is probably the only person who counts that one. It's like, yeah, I finally got him.
yeah,
But
yeah,
everyone else is like, man,
yeah,
I could have got him.
yeah,
At
yeah,
this
yeah,
point.
yeah. Like I know I smoked them, right? I know we smoked them good, and "Oh, well, I'll take that to the grave with me," you know? I smoked them.
Oh
Like,
man. You still watch MMA much?
yeah,
UFC?
yeah, I'm still a pretty big UFC fan. I have been since, I'm watching it since, well, number 1, actually,
Yeah, yeah.
since '93. I've been basically grew up watching it.
Who's your guy right now?
Um,
Or girl?
I think, I think right now would have to be like, I think Topuria is up there.
Oh
Ilya
yeah.
Topuria,
He's an animal.
he's up there. I think he's undefeated and he's got some, for his weight class, he's got some pretty strong hands.
Yeah.
And I think some of his body of work there, taking out Volkanovski, and no one's taken out Volkanovski like that.
Right. Same with
And
Holloway, the first guy to knock out Holloway.
taking out Holloway, yeah, first knockout there. Um, who else did he fight there? Like just lately,
Oliveira,
Oliveira. Yeah, like
and now Gaethje. He's
basically
gonna fight Gaethje.
basically smoking Oliveira too, right? That wasn't even
Yeah.
really with the utmost respect, obviously, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But because Oliveira's he's a pretty good human being,
Yeah.
But man, even that fight was he really torched him there, eh? Um,
That's what he said too. He said he he always moves forward.
yeah,
So he said, if
yeah,
you move forward against me,
yeah,
you're just gonna come to me.
yeah.
He's like, the reason these guys last the third, fourth round is because they move away
Because they're
after
backpedaling.
because they're backpedaling, and I gotta get to them.
Yeah,
But if you come to me,
yeah. It's gonna be a little
it's
bit
gonna be an
quicker.
early night.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's where like
yeah,
Justin moves forward.
yeah.
So that's gonna be
Yeah, yeah, they just released that's a pretty big fight actually. We're trying to see if we can get out there to
oh,
the
that'd
to
be
the White House.
wild.
I've been to over the years I've been to I think 12 live events now
Cool.
with I've always taken my wife and
Did you go were you at
yeah.
the first Max in Charles?
Yeah, in the
Here?
city here,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. That's
When
wicked.
Charles had like a rib injury there or
Yeah.
whatever. That wasn't even I wouldn't even call that a fight, right? He
No, it's real quick too.
quick and yeah. That's what I always felt that too if Charles came at him with a wrestling heavy game. I
Mm,
thought he would I didn't think he would have held him down that long, but I
yeah.
also thought, if he came at him wrestling heavy and jujitsu heavy, I thought he was gonna impose some will on him. It
Yeah.
was just a matter of like how much time, right?
Yeah, I thought that too. I just thought because it was the BMF, he was gonna try and stand up
Yeah, yeah,
just for like that
yeah,
fight.
because of the BMF,
But
yeah.
heck no, he didn't. He man,
Well,
every
he did.
round
Remember when
easily
Max did the last 8 seconds? It's like, "Okay, let's go," and then they
bought
went
him.
at it the
Yeah.
last I like that about Max, the last 10
Yeah.
seconds, he did that with Gaethje there. What about
But
that fight, eh?
wild.
Max and Gaethje?
Yeah.
Ah,
Even like Max and Ilya,
yeah, yeah,
I thought Max was winning.
yeah,
I had Max winning that entire fight until he got knocked out.
yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
was out punching him,
yeah,
outlanding him,
yeah,
and then he went to sleep, and it doesn't matter anymore.
and then, yeah, Topuria's got that missile, Masvidal was training with, Topuria, and he made some comments lately that, that guy can hit,
Mm,
and he's got hard hits. He was sparring with him, and, he said, "Man, he'll give any of those 170s a good go any day of the week. But if he drops down to 45, he's gonna be knocking those guys out left, right, and center."
right.
And, yeah, he just came out actually recently and said that Masvidal and, Masvidal usually doesn't just say that about anybody, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Doesn't compliment much.
yeah, he doesn't when's the last time you ever see him compliment, right?
Yeah.
He's, for him to say that about, Topuria, I think that's pretty good. I think Topuria is, for me anyways, for champions right
Yeah,
now, I think he'd be, between him and, Islam are, like, probably my 2 top fighters, at least current champions, right?
yeah.
Um, Islam, I think, is really he's putting on a pretty decent clinic right now too, you know? He's well-rounded.
He's well-rounded.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a tough guy to beat.
yeah. Where do you on a striking side of things, where would you see he has holes, Islam? 'Cause he's pretty tight defensively, eh?
Yeah, he's good, and
Yeah.
because people are thinking so heavily on the
About the on the
takedown,
grappling, yeah. He's
it's
got him thinking.
yeah.
Yeah,
And he lands shots that
yeah.
are
And
yeah,
now he's landing head kicks.
yeah.
Like,
It's crazy because it changes everything. Like even
yeah,
at the gym, because I do some kickboxing sparring, and then I'll go do the MMA sparring too.
yeah,
And the other coach, Eric, like when we're kickboxing, like it's fine. As soon as it goes to MMA,
yeah,
I can just I'm overthinking everything, and I'm
yeah,
flinching and like
yeah.
because now his fakes are like
Yeah, he's
I'm
trying to
like, is he
come in.
coming in?
He's
What's he
coming for a
doing? I'm
takedown,
like trying
right?
to time an uppercut,
Yeah,
and then he'll fake and throw an overhand and land it, and I'm just like, man, this is nuts.
yeah,
Like my whole nervous system is just going
yeah,
haywire.
yeah,
I'm just like, this is like the difference between even like from kickboxing to boxing. Like boxing, I'm so calm always.
yeah,
Never do I get nervous. Never do I get like
yeah,
flinchy.
yeah, yeah,
I'm just like
yeah,
in my element.
yeah,
Kickboxing, there's some like I'm still pretty comfortable, but there's
yeah,
situations where I'm
yeah,
like things happen that I don't expect, and I'm just like, whoa, oh.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then with MMA sparring, I'm just like
yeah,
panicking lots,
yeah,
and it's nuts, man.
yeah, that was pretty fun, yeah, even, back home too on the res there, we used to do quite a bit of, grappling and jujitsu training. My one cousin actually had, a Farmer Burns book. I don't know if you know, Farmer Burns, but he's an old catch wrestler of,
Mhm.
the early 1900s. So he did catch wrestling, and, so he was really, take a guy down, and there's some submission wrestling in there, and he was doing, like, quarter Nelsons and
Mm,
already doing key locks and, front chokes and stuff like that, and, he was already, pretty advanced for at that time for that, and then, he was even at some of his story too, like, he was at a bar, and there was a Golden Gloves boxer there at the bar, and they were drinking, and, they ended up, "Okay, let's just." He was saying, "I would take you out," and the other guy would say, "No, I'll take you out," right? And then so they went outside, and then, yeah, they squared off or whatever, and then Farmer Byrne just took him down
mhm.
and, choked him out, like, it was I think he said maybe 30, 40 seconds. It wasn't that long, right? Because you knew he didn't wanna stay on the feed
Yeah.
with him, right?
I think it's pretty clear now that
Yeah,
wrestling is
yeah,
the most dominant
yeah,
martial art.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
even over
yeah,
jujitsu, I think.
yeah,
Like how many jujitsu specialists are champions right now?
yeah,
And look how many wrestling
yeah,
champions there are.
yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, that time it was, yeah, we were training, I don't know, probably like 3, 4 years like that. There was a crew of, like, 5, 6 of us cousins that used to always, grapple with each other.
Mm,
And so we're I was learning off my one cousin because he was always going to that Farmer Burns book, and, we're always, like, obviously testing moves on each other. Wasn't like it was, you know, we're in a formal, gym doing it all the time, right? But, getting put in those maneuvers all the time was still uh beneficial, right? Because you're
Definitely.
still rolling
Yeah.
and doing it, right? And then yeah, it was pretty funny. And then like we only went to a formal gym a few different times. I know this one gym, me and my one cousin went there, and then it was open mat. We didn't know that. We just went there to train, and they're like, "Hey, let's open mat." So then they put my one cuz with their top student, and then I ended up going with the instructor, and then we ended up, getting multiple takedowns on them, and then eventually, it just timed out that, you know, we didn't get any submissions on them, but we got, half dozen takedowns or whatever,
Mhm.
and then, so I think at that time it was like, hey, we knew the stuff we were doing, like all the informal stuff we've been doing. It's like, wait a second here. We're actually doing some pretty good stuff here. Like
Yeah, it's working a little bit.
we didn't notice we were even like we thought actually we were gonna go in there and we were gonna
Beat
get
up.
tooled, you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And we actually went in there and we did respectfully, I don't want to say, we went in there and took them right out or whatever, but essentially that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
We went in there and we basically had a heyday with them, right? And yeah, yeah, it was just again just out there sparring and doing it and going at it and just doing it like on a day in and day out basis. I think that in itself was is beneficial. You just don't know exactly what level you're at until you go into like I guess a formal dojo and
Right.
you test yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even like with boxing, a lot of the students I'm just like, man, you never boxed before,
yeah,
and it's like they haven't, but
yeah,
they just messed around with their brothers, their cousins there,
yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like, man, I can tell you've done something because you
yeah,
just picked this up like nothing, like
yeah.
it doesn't come from
Yeah, just
you
from
know,
just sitting around not
yeah,
doing it, right?
right. So
Yeah,
even that little bit helps because even when I first started doing MMA, like
yeah,
long ago,
yeah, yeah,
just from wrestling around too, when I went there, they thought I wrestled in high school.
yeah, yeah,
I was like, I didn't, and like they wouldn't even believe me. They're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no, you got some wrestling background.
yeah, yeah,
I'm just like, I don't. I just like mess around
yeah,
and then like because I always boxed a little bit and did kickboxing,
yeah,
like I knew my weight of my body. I knew how to like kind of move it around properly,
yeah,
stop you from like
yeah,
even that you wrestle with your friends.
yeah,
Eventually, you learn how to control your weight, where
yeah,
to put it to stop
yeah,
them from lifting you up,
yeah,
and just like those
yeah,
little
yeah,
things that
that's
come with
center
that.
your center of gravity.
Right, that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I was me too, I was always like a big kid, I was always a heavyweight, and then, yeah, just lots of, we're doing lots of, submission catch wrestling there, and we're doing lots of, wrestling, and then then we started to get more into the jujitsu side too. But then just over time, like you do that, like you said, you just keep doing it and you keep rolling it, and once you start to find your body and your center of balance and your sprawl gets a lot better.
Mm,
You're sprawling a lot better. You're controlling the head and you're controlling upper body movements. So you have them in a half you're doing Greco-Roman wrestling on a guy and you have him in a headlock, like a standing, Muay Thai clinch, but it's
mhm,
like you're keeping him at bay
right.
from actually trying to come in and get at one of your legs for a takedown, right?
And you start
Uh,
learning that neck control with not even knowing that that's what
yeah,
you're doing.
yeah, you're pushing the head around and you're like, and then you start talking about that with your cousin, you're like, "Hey, wait a second, man. Yeah, if we're controlling the whole body if we're controlling the head."
Right.
And then you start breaking things movements down more.
Yeah.
You're like, "Man, wait a sec here.
And then if you're
We're on
watching
to
it,
something.
yeah, and then if you're watching it, you hear the announcers say some random stuff, and
Yeah,
then you like put some stuff together, and
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
pretty, but
yeah,
it's something.
yeah,
Just like this podcast,
yeah,
how it
yeah,
started, you know?
yeah,
Not pretty,
yeah,
but it's something,
yeah.
you
No,
know?
it's yeah, no, it's I mean, man, yeah, I just want to commend you on that. I mean, yeah, I like seeing local podcasts like this.
Mhm.
You know, just hearing some of the stories of our local people, that's empowering in itself.
Definitely.
Everyone has a story, like you said, right? Everyone has a story. Um, and what is your story? Come and say it, and they
Yeah.
can come say it here.
Say it right here.
You know what I mean? I mean, that in itself is, you know, very empowering.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to commend you for that. I mean, it's pretty cool. Um, getting into a podcast. And so what really made you want to do it?
J Honestly, I just really enjoy people.
Yeah, yeah,
I just like talking to people.
yeah, yeah,
I like
yeah,
learning about people.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then like a little
yeah,
bit too is
yeah,
like I could tell just from how you speak about mentorship,
yeah,
how much that impacted you, even as a apprentice,
yeah,
learning from the journeymen and the foremans and stuff.
yeah,
And then now you have a mentor, in the industry you're in.
yeah,
That's how I am too.
yeah,
Like I'm very big on mentorship. I'm
yeah,
not like the thing I learned about myself early is like, like I'm just a regular dude.
yeah,
I'm an idiot.
yeah,
I like to have fun. I'm like whatever,
yeah,
but I'm very coachable.
yeah,
I if you are doing something well
yeah,
and I know you can teach me,
yeah, yeah,
so like in martial arts, I was always coachable. In sports, I was coachable.
yeah,
And then when I shifted that to business,
yeah.
I had business mentors as well.
Hmm.
And I was just very coachable. They said it, I did it, it worked. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
clearly that works.
You mentioned once too you were with Kendall once, eh? Was one of the
Yeah, I was on one of his
program?
mentorship programs.
Yeah, how was that?
It was incredible, man.
It
It
was
was
good, eh?
like
Yeah.
the stuff I learned, and like Kendall's a good friend of ours today.
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah,
the stuff I've learned from him,
yeah, yeah,
it's incredible.
yeah,
His
yeah,
mindset around business, his mindset around um just like growth and money and finances and giving back, and he's
yeah,
just a humble guy,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Um so then when it comes to this, it's like I I like to bring people in and talk to them not so much about what they're doing, but I just want to dive into their mindset on like why they do it.
yeah,
Why did you build this when so many people quit?
yeah,
What got you through it? Why did you become a musician? Why did you become a business owner? Why did
yeah,
you whatever you're doing? I want to know the why.
yeah, yeah,
And then like I'm gonna learn from that too. It's like
yeah,
it's not entirely selfless. I'm like,
yeah,
I wanna learn from these people.
yeah,
I wanna but then I wanna share it too
yeah,
and like let everyone else hear it and
yeah,
take what you need and leave
yeah,
what you don't. And
yeah,
everyone has fruit, right? Everyone
yeah,
has fruit to give. Like no matter who's here with me, somebody has something to offer
yeah,
that
yeah.
I can maybe take. And if I can't, somebody will take it,
Somebody will, yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And I'm very open minded and I just
yeah,
like people and I like seeing people win. And I
yeah,
and I truly believe everyone can win.
yeah.
And you don't gotta gatekeep. You don't gotta be
Put a red tape.
right.
Put a
It's just
be
like
a red tape.
work
Be
together.
a red tape boy.
Yeah. A red tape boy.
That's one of my go-to lines sometimes when I'm dealing with some some people, we'll call them, right? I'm like, man, yeah, that guy's he's a red tape boy. You can
Mm,
tell.
yeah.
He's
And
putting
and
up
they're
red tape, you know.
they're everywhere.
And it's like, why are you putting up red tape? You know,
Yeah.
you ask him, and he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, you just put up that red construction tape around that job site. Why'd you do that?
It's true. Honestly,
Well,
in every
yeah,
area,
yeah,
not just business. You know,
yeah,
in every area of my life,
yeah,
there's people like that. And it's
yeah,
just like they just come, it's not, it's just how whatever environment they grew up in,
yeah,
that way was the way they had to survive,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And now they're an adult and they still live that way,
yeah,
where it's like they need to have these defenses up.
yeah,
They think everyone's trying to take from them,
yeah.
you know? And Kendall shared this with me, you know, and it's just like it's not real.
Mhm.
For one, it's like you made that
It's
up. You
it's
made up
it's
this narrative in your mind
yeah.
that
It's
everyone's
self
out to get
it's
you, and
self-sabotaging,
definitely.
you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, no, I get it because that's some of the stuff when some of the people from, my community too will reach out to me and ask me some of those mindset questions too, right? What keeps you, like, going forward, right? It's like, you know, it really is just getting up every day and having a purpose and, like, I have to go and do this today, whether or not you like it or not. You gotta go out there and do it. And what's even bigger than you is you got your kids watching. You
Hmm.
have the young ones watching. So whether again you like that or not, it's like you're still a role model without even really knowing it to your own kids because they're always watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then it's like it's always there, whether or not you like it or not. You know what I mean?
It's not always about that.
Yeah. Like it's like, man, we got these young ones watching.
Hmm.
We got these guys they're gonna be watching our every move. What are we gonna do? Like our kids too. I mean, we have a 23-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 5-year-old now. And just always grateful one to be a parent, right? But two, uh, even more grateful to be a role model in their life and to show them like there's better things out there that you can achieve, and a lot of it, in my opinion, comes down to just mindset
Mm.
and just being. I always say in life, I'm like, and in business too, but I'm like always cautiously optimistic. That's the line I like to say too, where I'm not like too overconfident, where you know what I mean? Where it's like that's gonna hurt you. You don't want to be too overconfident, right? Obviously you don't want to be pessimistic because you're always gonna be negative, right?
Yeah.
But I always say just pass that line a little bit cautiously optimistic. It's kind of like where I like to hang out, you know. You still got to be leery about some stuff or whatever, but at the same time, you don't want that getting in your head to where it's like
Stopping you.
it's stopping you from everyday movement and progression, right? Like you still have to, no matter what, akimemok, they say
Mm.
in our Cree dialect, they say
Keep
never
moving
give up,
forward.
never give up. You gotta keep moving forward. You know, um, they always mention that our elders, eh? Akimemok, never give up. And then So it's just stuff like that. Even our some of our elders bring that up to try and help out with some of the mental state of some of our people, right? So again, it's uh it's a big topic out there.
Mm.
You know, again, I always say I don't want to sound like some type of Dr. Phil or anything, you know. Sometimes I feel like I come off like that, right?
No, that's good, man.
But I think just but you have to have purpose. You have to wake up with some kind of a purpose. And if you're not waking up with a purpose to go do something, then what are you doing in life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to have some kind of a purpose to get you up and to keep moving forward. And
Mm.
whatever that is in life, it doesn't have to be, it could be just, you know, anything in life. It doesn't have to be business or sports or boxing or being a politician.
Right. Yeah, it's different for everyone.
That path is all different, right? And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, and I think some people get hung up on that too. Like it's like, oh, I I'm trying to emulate around this person or
Mm.
this person. It's like, at the end of the day, you have to blaze your own path. It's good to have some role models and some mentors too,
Yeah.
right? But like you still have to choose that path.
Mm.
That choice is still there. You know what I mean? Like you still have to make that choice, and whatever you think that is for you, in order to have that purpose in life to keep you motivated to grind every day. And again, it's a mindset thing. Like that kind of all goes back to that the mindset. You know. Um. So I'm big into that. I'm big into exercising my mentality. Um, a lot of self-awareness, and I think that's what helps keep me grounded.
Mm.
And if you have more of a grounded mindset, then like everything that you're doing, it just seems to be almost like second nature.
Not so chaotic.
You know what I mean? Like I like it's weird, but I like being in the fire. You know, figuratively and maybe literally, I could be putting out a fire inside of a furnace
Mm.
even.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
We're trying to start one.
Or trying to start a fire. It's just like, you know, it's it I feel like just because over time I exercise my mentality over the course of my lifetime, that I was like, it's helped me. It's helped me to find that peace
Mm.
within the fire. You know what I mean? It's that flow state that
Yeah.
you talk about in MMA or boxing or whatever. You feel like you're in that flow state, but it's like you're actually in the fire, but because you've been grinding and doing it for so long, you feel like that's what you're meant to do
Yeah.
because you have been doing that, putting in the time. Um, I think that's big because it goes back to your mindset and how you're conducting yourself and how you're not overthinking things and how you're presenting yourself on a daily to the public and how okay, we gotta get these things done. Got a bunch of tasks we gotta do here. Let's hit them out and get done with the day, right? But again, it starts with the mindset. Like step one is always mindset. It's your biggest organ in your body. Why wouldn't you try to train that
Mm.
your biggest organ in your body? And in my opinion, the best organ in your body because that's what controls everything that you do, right? Um, yeah, yeah, it's that's a pretty big thing for me. The mindset part of it is pretty, yeah. Not that I, go sit at home and I fly to Tibet every 5 years and I go sit with the monks and all that. And we're trying to figure things out over 30 days of figuring things out or anything, right?
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to do any of that kind of stuff, with all respect to the monks out in Tibet, Tibet, right? I don't want to put them out there like that, right?
Oh man. Um, man, I think it's a nice way to end this podcast.
Yeah, yeah,
Is all what you just said. Because I agree with everything you just said.
yeah, yeah,
'Cause I feel the same way about mindset.
yeah,
I feel like our minds work
yeah,
very similar.
yeah, right,
Because I feel the same way. I feel like for whatever reason, I'm able to handle a lot. Like
yeah,
I just have like this big capacity
yeah,
to be in the fire
yeah,
always
yeah,
and be fine
yeah,
and be able to think clearly,
yeah,
and I'm never overwhelmed. I'm never like in panic mode.
yeah,
I'm able to just be there, and it's I just know things are going to be okay.
yeah, yeah,
And I think it comes with that just that confidence,
yeah,
not in like a cocky way,
yeah, yeah,
but just in
yeah,
a like I know I can handle this
yeah,
kind of way.
yeah. It's like a subtle confidence,
Yeah.
For like, man, I know we're gonna hit this out of the park.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how I felt with I went into a flow state there too when I was seeing my presentation at the SOAR
Mm.
competition.
Yeah, something we never talked about. You
Yeah,
freaking won
yeah,
the SOAR
yeah,
entrepreneurship uh what was it called? It was specifically for pitching
yeah,
pitching your company,
yeah.
right?
The Indigenous entrepreneurship pitch competition.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I felt that time when I went up there and I seen you there and I talked with you there.
That was the first time we met.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I was like, I was nervous, for the first. We got there a little bit early, right? And for the first hour, and then I think whenever the pitches started at 7, let's say, right? But it was like 5. I think it was 5. I don't think a lot of people knew that, but I was, it was a good kind of a nervous or whatever, right? But after that, I had like not a sunken feeling, but I knew I was, prepped well enough when I came in. I felt really good about my pitch, and then I was like, I just took a couple deep breaths and let it go. I'm like, again, I thought about it in a simplistic way where either I hit it out of the park or I don't hit it out of the park. There's only two options here,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just not. I don't have like 10 options here to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to pick here, right? So then I simplified it that night, and then yeah, I went up there and I honestly felt like I had an out of body moment there when I was in my pitch. And yeah, I came out of it there and I was answering the questions. It was in, pretty focused. I was really like super dialed in. And then yeah, I came out of it and I came down and I was sitting with my wife and yeah, right away she was saying that no, you got it, you got it. And she always gives me like the unbiased point of view,
Mm,
like not the biased point of view. So I'm
right.
like, man, I just like, for sure, are you sure? I'm like, "No, I just blacked out."
Man, you honestly crushed it, man.
Yeah,
Cause like you just were up there like a real person, genuine.
yeah,
and just saying what you knew, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
It was very well done.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I felt like too. I'm gonna get up there, I'm gonna leave it on the table, but I'm also, these are the things we're doing and how we do things and how we how we attract business and I felt like and I've always felt like there was a solid business plan there, right? Otherwise I wouldn't try to pitch it,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
did some of the competitors I felt maybe like you said, trying to maybe do too much and be out of a character.
Yeah,
I think
or
that
sell it, right?
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
yours just felt genuine.
yeah,
And honestly, every time I talk to you, I just feel like I'm
yeah,
talking to a guy who owns a
yeah,
business,
yeah,
not a salesman, not a marketer, not
yeah,
somebody who thinks they're bigger than everyone else, you
yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah,
Like you just seem like a friend
yeah,
who wants to help,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, and that's really how we try to, that customer centric approach to, we come into someone's home, we want to do a really good job and we want to look after them. And so when we do that, I mean, we want to, thank you for calling us and using our services. And we're going to treat you with the utmost respect, just like how we would treat a family.
Mm,
We're not going to come out and say, hey, let's replace your whole system and all the ducts. And we got to open up all the drywall. And actually, we got to take everything down to the studs and then rebuild. Like, I'm like, I just, I don't know. I can't fathom myself in telling a community that when they don't need that.
right.
You know what I mean? I don't know how I get the sales part of it. You have to make sales, but like being like super salesy,
Yeah.
is that, you know what I mean? That was never obviously making sales is part of business, but that was never part of my, pitch. It's like we're not going to go out there and oversell to people like stuff they don't need,
Right.
So yeah, no, that's even in my own pitch was like that, you know. It was centered around that. And some of our reviews and some of our references will back that up too, right? And that's how we want to sell our business. That's and it should be sold like that.
Hmm.
Some people may agree or disagree, but
I think what you're doing is really incredible, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys too, man. You guys are killing it here. I mean,
Hey, just
uh,
take the compliment. You don't have to compliment back, okay?
just take, just take it.
This isn't a
Yeah.
compliment off, all right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no, I wanted I always there's always a few people that ask me about that sport competition and that's how I felt that night. It was really it felt like almost an out of body experience, but I was really just so dialed in and just knew what I needed to do, right? And I went into like a flow state.
Mm.
Yeah. So I always tell people, we're just dirty old tradesmen
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that happen to get up on a stage once in a lifetime and go speak our story. So that was something too that I wanted to do. And because I would never was some kind of professional speaker by any means, but I also knew it gave me yeah, a little bit of nerves there. So and I wanted to do it.
Just push through that.
Just push through that and then just feel it. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
wanna feel something and you wanna try
Yeah,
something
yeah.
and you're like, "Man, I wanna." I want to try that. I want to do that, as much as we are just a bunch of dirty old tradesmen. Let's just get up on the stage and
See what
let's just
happens.
see what happens. You know what I mean? If it doesn't go the way we don't want it to go, at the same time, we're okay with the result. We didn't focus on the result.
And we can always move.
It was never about the result when
Um,
I went there. You know what I mean? It really, I didn't focus on it. For me, it was just getting up there, doing the absolute best that I could, and presenting, I feel one of the best business plans out there.
mhm,
Sustainable business is what we believe in. And, whatever comes out of it at that time, we were happy with any kind of result.
right.
But whatever comes out of it that night, we didn't focus on that. And I felt like some of my other colleagues were thinking like that, right? Pretty heavily focused on the end result.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah. It's all fun though, as well. Everything's fun. You know
yeah,
how it
man.
is.
It's fun.
Everything's everything's fun.
Well, this was fun, man.
Yeah,
This
man.
was good, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad you came out and
Yeah,
shared your mindset,
yeah, man.
because that's the strongest part, man. And
Yeah,
it's the hardest thing to build. It's the hardest thing to develop.
yeah,
But it sounds like you have a
yeah,
freaking solid mind, man, and
yeah.
it's gotten you to where you're at.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate our friendship.
Yeah.
It's always good chatting with you.
I just really at the end of the day, I was just a guy who wanted to get off the res, get out of the drugs and alcohol
Mhm.
and just get into a business and get into something that I was gonna be helping people. It never really was something really big other than just that, right? Uh and all these other things that happen are cool. I'm not saying they're not. Nothing wasn't cool or anything, right? But just goes to show you, like, the mindset the mindset thing is big.
Big.
That's big, and I think teaching a lot of our youth and our up and comers is, I'm big with my kids on that too. I'll sit down and try to talk with them as much as I can, eh? And I'm sure you're gonna be like that too with your kids. And congrats with your new baby there, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that feeling that oh man, my dad again.
Yeah.
It happened again.
It happened again.
Yeah, yeah,
New baby smell.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That must be pretty good too, eh?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
It's awesome.
Like,
Just slows you down a
yeah,
little bit more.
yeah,
Just like makes you appreciate a little bit harder,
yeah,
grateful
yeah,
that they're healthy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids too, they're all pretty like energetic and a couple people ask me that too. They're like, "Well, how do you feel about you know, if you had a lazy baby or like energetic baby?" I'm like, "Man, I prefer energetic babies all day because then you know when they're sick.
You just slow
They
down.
slow down, you're like, "Man, what's wrong with you? What's
Mm,
happening?" That to me is because they don't talk as much. That's You're inadvertently telling them something's happening, right?
right.
So, because if you have a lazier baby, then it's like, well, you don't know if he just wants to hang out or what's happening. You moving, buddy? Like it's just like, yeah, I know, and but yeah, our and thankfully our kids are they were all pretty they like to move around, and yeah, no, that's always pretty good. At least we know that about them, so they're not, all over can be all over the map, I guess, but yeah, no, that's cool, man. Like fatherhood, and
Yeah.
that's cool stuff, man. You get to be a role model now to these young ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that in itself, man, I find that to me, that's pretty cool about being a dad.
It's cool.
Like, man, I get to help shape these guys, and it's like, man, this is gonna be good, you know. I get to teach these guys so much.
Yeah, it's the thing I think about the most for sure.
Yeah,
Even when I'm doing things that, whatever I'm doing, boxing, whatever, it's just like they're in the back of my mind. Like everything's because of them now.
yeah, 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 yeah. Man, yeah, and like my dad, my old man was, and I don't want to, I don't want to put my old man like in a situation where I don't love him or anything, but he loved his drugs, eh?
Mm,
He loved his drugs, and I knew just because of the state he was in, I knew that was. I don't want to say he loved it more than us kids, but I want to say that you know that's the state of mind he was in, and that's the choice he made, right? So that indirectly taught me of just how to treat our own kids and how to help raise them. We want to make sure that substance abuse for sure. I don't want them thinking that that's going to be number one over them at any point
mhm,
in life. Um, but that's what I indirectly learned from my old man.
right.
That's that I didn't want to be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was just that really hit home for me, and just trying to be the best that you can be.
Yeah, I think that's the power in your mindset,
Yeah,
because it's like you either had the opportunity to have a dad that was there to show you how to continue a legacy,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or you didn't,
yeah,
right? And then you kind of have to have the awareness to understand that you're starting a legacy,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, and some people get that mixed up,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
yeah, so you should be proud of yourself,
yeah,
man, because that's huge.
yeah. No, that's again, and also we talk about a lot with our communities too, like just breaking cycles.
Great.
You know, you have to at some point. We got to break cycles. We have to break these. We got to come out of this. We have to move forward.
Mm,
We have to act and aim. We'll never give up. We have to. It all comes down to again, like the mindset, right? You got to know how to dust ourselves off. We fall off that horse. We got to get back on that horse again and start galloping again.
mhm,
Dust ourselves off, and we gotta get going again, right? And the more times you do that, again, me too. I'm like, I like people around me too, and friends and family that are like, I prefer them to have a few scars on themselves. I prefer them to have hit rock bottom once or twice in their lives and pick themselves up and then continue to drive forward, as opposed to like, white collar people that were, might have been spoon fed on a silver plate growing up and, they have some outlandish expectations of what life is supposed to be.
Mm.
You know what I mean? As opposed to you talk to one of your brothers and like, man, I've been to jail. I came out of it. I quit my drugs cold turkey. I quit drinking. Here I got like 10 scars on me from knife fights that I was in when I was younger, and I was able to get out of that and still make a good life and still have a wife and loving kids. Tho- those kind of people are like, you know, the ones that come out of it and they gotta, you know, it might have took a little longer for them to get into their mindset, but I feel like it's not something that obviously not something to be proud about, but that's their character. That's who they are, and that's what helps shape them to be
Yeah.
who they're supposed to be in life. Because had they not gone through that path,
Right.
I don't think they would be the same person down the road, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you gotta have gratitude for the good and the bad.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say be proud of it, but I'm still
Right.
saying, hey, you're that's who you are. That's what you needed to go through.
What you needed.
You needed to experience this to come out the other side, right?
And it's hard to see the big picture sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Sometimes like you need to go through something so that you can help
yeah,
other people go through it or even prevent people from going through it.
yeah,
And you can take that and turn it into something really good.
yeah.
But it's hard to see that when you're in it
When you're in it,
sometimes.
it's hard to be like, man,
This is gonna be awesome in 15 years. you know?
and the reason why I bring that up because even myself, I've been 18 years sober now, going on 19 in in
Oh,
in, in May. In May, but I still remember when I quit. It was a weekend of partying and like 3 days straight, and I remember sitting there and we're drinking, and I was drunk. I was hammered, but not blacked out, right? And I still remember sitting there looking around the table of guys, and all the beers were there, and I'm like, man, why are we even drunk? Why am I even doing this? You know what I mean? I didn't understand why I was abusing
mm,
alcohol and going on benders and you know just putting myself out there in a bad way and running away from all my problems that I have in life and not trying to deal with my problems. And so then I quit. I ended up quitting cold turkey, and that was a long time quitting cold turkey. And for about 18 months to 2 years, I had to obviously get rid of 80% of your family and friends. Um, but again, I feel like, because a guy went through that, then you can help some of the youth that are facing that now. You can help seeing if you can get a couple of them to break out of that because you had similar circumstances and you can have a better understanding of them when you're
mm.
in those chaotic moments of substance abuse, right? So even with that, I feel like, people like that are you know, they can get to you better, I feel, right? You know what I mean? As opposed to again, that maybe the white collar kid that has unrealistic expectations of how life should be.
Right.
So, yeah,
Being able to connect, relate.
yeah,
I ju I was just talking about that, um, Decoy?
no,
He's a hip hop artist, Indigenous hip hop artist.
yeah,
He was just talking about that, how, being able to connect with people
yeah,
with a story that's similar
yeah, yeah,
can just help build that trust, help pull something out of you maybe,
yeah,
instead of seeing somebody whom you don't relate to at all,
yeah,
you know? That's like the important part of going out to communities and
yeah,
letting people see you and connect with you.
yeah,
'Cause maybe you're the person that needs to pull that out of them, pull
yeah,
that
yeah,
whatever's in there,
yeah, yeah,
that power.
yeah,
'Cause everyone has it. Everyone has power.
yeah,
Just some, it's just in there deep,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. You got to sit down and really just pretty much like yank it out of them sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But it's there, yeah, no, it's there. Like you keep saying, everyone has a story, right? And I really believe with everything that's happening in today's world. I mean, as long as you can believe in yourself. I mean, you know, even even with my wife, I'm like, you know, uh, as much as I gotta believe in me first before I can believe and take care of the rest of the family. Even I gotta make sure I believe in what I'm doing first and foremost, right?
Yeah, it's sometimes people think taking care of yourself is selfish,
Yeah,
but sometimes it's selfless
yeah,
because like you take care of yourself so you can take care of others.
yeah,
Instead of trying to take care of others before you have even taken care of yourself. And then nobody gets anything. Nobody gets help.
yeah,
'Cause you're not a person who can help,
yeah,
but you're trying to help.
yeah,
But sometimes you just have to. You have to get yourself to a place
yeah,
that you can help other people,
yeah,
right? Have that overflowing cup
yeah,
instead of this almost empty cup.
yeah,
And now you're pouring it into someone else's cup and now you're empty. And they have to pour it back into yours. And now they're empty again. And now it's just like back and forth,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
If you get
abs-
to a place where you're overflowing, now
yeah,
you could help freaking hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's man, yeah, good stuff. All of this stuff in life, it's fun. You know,
Yeah,
I go back to like it's fun.
it's fun.
I just want to make sure like it feels like fun. You know what I mean? Like
Even when it's hard.
even when it's hard and when you're out there, you know, you have even with deaths in your family and stuff like that. You're gonna be like the main one coordinating that. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. I mean, you still have to go out there and
Yeah.
it's just part of life, right? You still have to move forward, you know?
Everything else keeps going.
Yeah.
You have to do it too,
Yeah, yeah.
even when it's hard.
Even when it's
And
hard,
especially when you have kids.
yeah, yeah,
You can't just freak.
yeah. And grandkids now, yeah, we got 2 granddaughters now.
How old are you?
Uh, so on it.
None of your business.
I don't tell anybody. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Early 40s now.
Okay.
Yeah, not super old, but the Mercedes is 23 now. She's got 2 girls now, 2 and 1.
Okay.
And yeah, I know they were just over last night too. And two little rascals too. And Zanea likes running around and yelling at me, Papa, Papa, you know. She calls Grandpa Papa. And it's different, eh? It's like, because you know it's not your kids, and they're
Mhm.
like grandkids, you know, and they're like, it's different. You know, I feel like it's not,
Yeah.
I don't have to like raise them, but I'm still a heavy influence on them,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and they're still watching.
Yeah, you're still leading.
You know what I mean? They're still watching your movements and what you're doing. And it's still just as eventful as it is having your own kids,
Yeah.
you know, and then Mercedes will get mad if I throw her like a few candies, you know,
Yeah.
and then she's like, "The hell are you doing? Hey, hey, it's
Our
that's what papas are supposed to do, you know."
freaking Demi's mom just gave Royce ice cream for breakfast once.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, yeah,
What's
yeah.
going on here?
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, oh, whatever, I'm leaving soon. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
yours to deal with.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, he's gonna be bouncing everywhere though, right? I'm like, and that's what I do with Mercedes. I know they're gonna be bouncing everywhere, so it's like that. What? But that's what Kookums and Mushums do.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
exactly. Part of the
it's
process.
part of the process. You know what I mean? You'll be at that stage one day, and you'll be like,
Spoil.
man,
Spoil them.
that's what. Yeah, I remember talking about this with Rich, right?
Yeah.
This is once you're like, I actually enjoy doing that. Like it's fun, right?
Yeah. That's
Not that
good,
I'm
man.
trying to like, you know, get her hyped up and here go back to them and get and be a nuisance to them, right? I'm just like, but it's like, you know, it's just one of those things. I mean,
That's what grandparents are
it's
for.
you're hanging out with the grandkids, right? And
Yeah.
they know, eh? Like,
You put your work into your kids
yeah,
so that you can hang out with the
but hanging out with
grandkids.
the grandkids, yeah,
Yeah.
man.
It's cool.
It's
It's cool because grandkids are like, it's like the test of the test, like you built these people to build people and
yeah,
let's
yeah,
see how they do.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah, and you're like looking at, yeah, and I was always pretty hard on Mercedes, like over the years, you know. Uh, but I do want to commend her. She is a good mother. She's watching those two little girls, and I know she loves them a lot. And so that's one thing, you got to commend some of these young mothers.
Mm,
She's a young mother, and I know sometimes she'll have doubts sometimes, as all young mothers will have. But I also know that we didn't teach her to not get through this stuff in life. Like we taught her, hey, no
right.
matter what, you gotta try and push through, right? And I think that's first and foremost. If you can, again, it's all part of that mindset thing again.
Yeah.
And that's what we tried to pass on to her, right? So I think that's gonna help her, move along in life.
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll always be there to help no matter what, right? But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
as long as she's equipped, you equip your kids in the
Yeah.
right way. I feel like you've done your job, right?
Right.
At least to the best of your abilities, right? They might think a little bit differently about that,
Definitely.
you
And
know.
because like
That's how kids are, you know.
yeah, that's how it goes and the
Yeah,
world changes too
yeah,
but like it's your first time doing it, right? And you
yeah,
just do it to the best.
yeah,
And then they take what worked and
yeah,
they leave what didn't.
yeah,
And they become stronger.
yeah, yeah.
And their kids become stronger.
As long as they understand that part,
Right.
that they can learn off that, just like how I learned off my old man to try and be closer with them and make sure that substance abuse, I felt like I didn't want to
Yeah, yeah,
make
yeah.
it look like it was number one over my kids. So
Right.
that's why one of the main reasons too why I quit substance abuse when I was younger in my early 20s was how am I supposed to lead my family in a good way when I'm out there being a clown on the streets, all liquored up and drugged out?
Mhm.
Because that's what I was doing, at the time. And, you just, at least I felt like I can't, right? So that's why I left. And there was a stark reminder of what my old man, inadvertently showed me. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you turned out pretty good.
Yeah,
In my opinion, man. You're an awesome dude, man.
yeah, man. You too, man. Yeah, you
We're
guys are freaking deadly.
we're almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
You believe that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How long do you usually go?
It's always different.
Yeah, yeah.
Between an hour and two. I've done one that was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. Okay, well let's wrap this up.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want to shout out your company, where
Yeah,
to find you,
yeah.
and then we'll call it.
Yeah, so if anyone's looking for plumbing, gas fitting, pipe fitting, furnace, hot water tank installs, service calls, preventative maintenance plans, feel free to give us a shout. We're 100% Indigenous owned business. You can find us on our socials at RYP Mechanical, our website, rypmechanical.com, or you can call or text our phone line 306-203-1470.
Yeah, man. It was awesome talking to you.
Yeah, man. You too. Thanks for inviting me, by the way.
Yes, sir.
That's yeah, I was pretty stoked when you got a hold of me. Like, yeah, I'll come and chat. I don't know what we're gonna chat about, but I mean,
I knew we'd find something.
there's always
There's
I
always
I I know I say that jokingly, but I like over the years I've just eventually became a chatterbox anyways.
yeah, man. It's good.
You know,
It's
like I
good.
said, I was like, and I remember Kendall saying that once too, that he was an introvert, right? Like growing up.
Yeah.
And that's how I was too. I was an introvert, and then yeah, you just slowly build more skills. You slowly get more confidence, and that's it's all telltale of life, right? I mean,
And now look at you
it's fun.
running a podcast pretty much.
It's fun. It's fun, man. Yeah,
Yeah. Life is fun, man.
yeah, yeah. How many shows you got on now?
I think you're gonna be number 83 or 84, something like that.
Oh, nice. I thought you were in the hundreds already.
Not yet.
Close, eh? What are you aiming for?
I do 2 a week,
Yeah, yeah.
so I don't know.
You had Mr. Fox in here, Sheelan.
Couple times.
Yeah, yeah. How'd you
Been
like
here
that?
3 times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
He's awesome.
Yeah,
He's awesome. He's really good to talk to.
yeah, yeah.
He brought some of his kids in here too once.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice.
A couple of his students.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. Full of good stuff.
Heck yeah. All right, man.
Go do 3 hours.
Do a outro. How would you wrap this up if this was your podcast?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't even know how it's. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Let's get out of here.
Done. Okay.